want to have a conversation today about abortion. Yes, the big A in the room, the big A that's on display, the big A that every person on the Democrat side of the aisle is running on. From Val Demings to Charlie Crist to Anna Eskamani, local government, to Darren Soto, congressional, District 7, and so many more. The big A is what everybody is running on. But I wanted to start this video with a statement, or I should say, the press secretary. No, today I won't be impersonating her. Today, we're going to have a conversation. So we're going to play her and her intro of the October 18th that she did. And her intro was all about Roe v. Wade. So I want to play that. And then after we get done with that, we're going to go into some policies. And we're going to read a little bit there. But first, the Madame. Let's play her. Okay, here she is.
We are just past 100 days since the Supreme Court's unconscionable decision to overturn Roe. And President Biden is continuing to fight to restore reproductive rights for millions of American women. Because we know what's at stake. Right now, Republican officials in Congress and across the country are implementing draconian laws that threaten women's health and criminalize doctors for doing their jobs.
I wasn't going to interrupt. Draconian? Is that barbaric? Is that from the 19, not even 19? Draconian. That's from the Middle Ages. I'm not going to interrupt her anymore. I'm going to let her go. Let her tongue do the tying for us.
Senate Republicans have introduced an extreme national abortion ban. Republican officials across the country are passing radical statewide bans with limited exceptions, risking the lives and health of women who have serious complications, who have survived rape or incest, or who are going through the heartbreaking experience of miscarriage. In Arizona, Republican officials are trying to enforce a law on the books from 1864.
God damn it, hold on.
Let me say that again.
You know, the hypocrisy is really real. So if you decide to kill your baby on your own through abortion, and you have the effects that happens, whatever it is, I don't know, hemorrhaging, bleeding, whatever happens, and you do that by choice, then it's okay. It's just the side effects of abortion. But if the same thing happens and you lose life is lost, right? Because you lose life. But that's okay because you made a choice to do that. So it's not horrific. Same concept on the other side, but they call it a miscarriage, where same thing happened, you lose the child. But it wasn't something you did. Well, maybe some people do, I don't know. But my point is, you chose to kill, and on the other hand, you didn't choose to it, but it happened. Same scenario. But if you chose it, then it's just reproductive rights. But if that happened through miscarriage, then it's horrific. It's something horrible and horrific. So it's like, it's both children are dead, right? Both of them didn't survive the pregnancy, right? But for one, it's horrific. And for the other, I don't understand that. How can it be horrific for one and not the other if in both instances life is lost? All right, let's put her back on. I can't, but let's put her back on.
1964. That's over 150 years ago. President Biden believes that Roe was rightly decided nearly 50 years ago, and that women should be treated with compassion, they should be treated with dignity, they should be treated with respect, and also have the privacy to make incredibly personal decisions. And oftentimes, let's not forget, difficult decisions about their own health care. If there are enough votes in Congress, the first piece of legislation the president is going to sign, or he will send to the Hill, I should say, next year in the new Congress, will once again make Roe the law of the land. And he will sign it into law around the 50th anniversary of Roe v. Wade. The stakes could not be higher for women across America and for the generations of women to come.
So I am woman first. We are always women first. And I really don't want to address color, but because I am a beautiful woman of color, I must represent the community and speak on the fact of what is happening, especially with Black women, Black community, when it comes to this topic. So I think her last statement that she did before she wrapped it all up was that we have to preserve or fight for the future generation of women. So I would argue that with as much of the abortion that goes on, do you think there's going to be any women left to fight for? Because by this rate, they will be extinguished, extinct, like the old dinosaur, put to pasture. I would like to pull up a report that was written several years ago, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. It's the report, The Effects of Abortion on the Black Community. Okay, so the research team, Christina Daniels, Catherine Davis, if Ifoma or Nukar, I don't know, and Star Parker, and the Cure Center for Urban Renewal and Education, blackcommunitynews.com, urbancure.org. So this is June 2015. Introduction. Politicians argue for abortion largely because they do not want to spend the necessary money to feed, clothe, and educate more people. Here, arguments for inconvenience and economic savings takes precedence over arguments for human value and human life. Psychiatrists, socialists, social workers, and doctors often argue for abortion on the basis that the child will grow up mentally and emotionally scarred. But who of us is complete? If incompleteness were the criteria for taking life, then we would all be dead. If you can justify abortion on the basis of emotional incompleteness, then your logic could also lead you to killing for other forms of incompleteness, such as blindness, crippleness, or old age. And it says here, then pro-life, the good Reverend, Jesse Jackson. This was in 1977. The good Reverend wrote this. And it seems that he is arguing that human life has value, and that things aren't perfect. People are born with different illnesses and different issues, but that doesn't make life any less important. So I believe around 1984, the good Reverend decided to run for the Oval. Didn't quite make it. I believe he ran again in 1988. Again, he didn't quite make it. But he was given a bone, so to speak, for being a silent senator in the District of Columbia. Again, he didn't quite make it. So, Jesse Jackson, he's a minister, by the way. The Reverend, of course. The Reverend, the man of God. Before he took on the Democrat Party and became, what he is now, he advocated for life. He advocated for the unborn. No matter what the circumstances were, he advocated for them. But now, since the 1973 Roe versus Wade Supreme Court decision, over 54 million babies have been aborted in centers around the nation. It can be said with certainty that the practice has had a personal, practical, and political effect on communities and citizens. Every town, city, ethnicity, and age group has suffered from the tragic effects of this mostly surgical and sometimes medical procedure. The true toll of abortion may remain unknown and immeasurably because the data, for the most part, has not been collected or has been ignored by those responsible for its collection. The so-called right to privacy that allowed abortion on demand was created by the Supreme Court for women. But for 40 years, now 50, but for 40 years now, that right has been extended to the abortionists as well. This shred of privacy enables abortionists, that's the people that lobby for it, the Planned Parenthood, the executioners, the abortionists. This shred of privacy enables the executionists to literally get away with murder and mayhem as thousands of women are injured each year. Abortion has become the most unregulated industry in the United States because government, legislatures, and attorney generals fail to enforce or write laws that will actually protect women. In addition to lack of regulation, the ravages of choice continues to take a toll on individuals families, states, and economic stability of the nation. This report seeks to examine this issue in the hopes that Congress considers investigations to explore the physical, legal, cultural, and economic harm abortion has created in our nation. Consumer. Now, this is where I wanted to talk a little bit about that. The people that's really affected, the most participants in this is Black women, is the Black community. So the most people who are being extinguished, are being killed, murdered, terminated, are the people in the Black community. So let's read. The abortion consumer. Disproportionately, the leading consumer of the abortionist services is the African American female. According to the 2011 abortion surveillance report issued by the Center for the Disease Control, Black women make up 14% of the childbearing population. 14%, that's not a lot. Then again, the Blacks are 13% of the population. So 14% of the childbearing population, yet obtained 36.2% of reported abortions. Black women have the highest abortion ratio in the country, with 474 abortions per 1,000 live births. So almost half of every Black pregnancy that happens, wow, almost half out of 1,474 gets aborted. Percentages at these levels illustrate that more than 19 million Black babies have been aborted since 1973. So let's change that up, because this report was done in 2015. So today is 2022. So yeah, they done killed a whole lot more Blacks by choice. Wow, 19 million Black babies have been aborted since 1973. According to the Department of Health, every state that reports abortion by, ethnicity, Black women disproportionately leads in the numbers. For a small majority, right? They are a minority, a small minority, but for a small minority, they have the highest killing when it comes to abortion. That's just abortion. That's just one way of extinguishing the Black race. We're not even talking Black on Black crime here. We're not talking them killing each other outside of this abortion situation. So if this amount are being killed, let me continue to read. We're going to go back. According to the Department of Public Health of every state that reports abortion by ethnicity, Black women disproportionately lead in the numbers. For example, in Mississippi, 79% of abortions are obtained by Black women. In the swamp, in Washington, D.C., more than 60%. Wow. In Georgia, 59.4%. In Alabama, 58.4%. Wonder what the numbers are in New York. California, Those liberal states. Anyway, in state after state, similar numbers are found, with Black women aborting at 2, 3, or more times their presence in the population. At every income level, Black women have higher abortion rates than whites or Hispanics, except for women below the poverty line, where Hispanic women have slightly higher rates than Black women. I find it interesting that the women below the poverty line, the women who can't afford to have any kids, they're below the poverty line, which means they can barely feed themselves. And if they have one, they can't feed that one. They have two, they sure can't feed that one. But they are the ones who get pregnant the most. Is it because of education? Again, abortion happens, pregnancy happens because we out there doing the wild thing. That's how it happens. Poor people have sex more than regular people, than the rich. They got more time on their hands. The rich is too busy working. They're too busy at the 9 to 5. The Blacks here, they got time on their hands. They ain't got nothing to do all day. The majority of them ain't got nothing to do all day. They sitting at home, watching soap operas, eating government cheese and bonbons and whatever the hell they do. And they fuck. They have a lot of sex. And so they're always getting pregnant. And so women below the poverty line, women with nothing, are the ones who get pregnant the most. And they're the ones who have the most abortions. Facilities with minority communities serve as a major contributor to the rate in which Black women obtain abortions. Accordingly, Black women are 5 times more likely to have an abortion than white women. 5 times more likely to have an abortion than white women. The majority, again, the women are not married. They are baby daddying it all day. They're jumping from this relationship to the next one, from this male to that one, and a lot of times they're not even in relationships. Everybody's just having a good old time, screwing around, doing the nasty, and oops, there's a baby now. Oh, we'll just have an abortion. So, is it that Black women are not responsible? Black women are less responsible than white women? Or is again the education? White women are they are busy, they're going to school, they're creating, you know, whatever future, they're getting married, they have a different upbringing, and so they're focused on these types of things, where Black women, a lot of them are, pregnant in high school. They're 13, 14, 15. They got babies by then. Again, is it the education? They're not being taught. They're not being, you know. So I'm not sitting here judging anybody. I've lived the life myself. So, I've been through what I've been through myself. So, I am a single mother, and but I learned, but a lot of these women don't learn, and they continue to, go through the system. So they take on another partner, another pregnancy happens. Maybe they'll keep this one, maybe they won't keep that one, and then they'll move on. And then, they get into another partner, and then the same scenario, goes on. So again, Black women, white women, Hispanic women. How does it change? What is the divide? So I'm going to be putting an end to this video right now. It is already over 25 minutes long. I can make a part 2. You let me know in the comments if you'd like a part 2 so we can dive into the remaining 20 pages or so of this document. And by the way, this document came from the White House archives. It is there. And this report was done under Obama, just so we know. Please check it out. It's in the description box. I'll put the link in there. Let me know if you want me to make another video, part 2 of this, so we can continue this conversation. But for now, we're going to table it. I thank you for watching, subscribing. I do have the Black Babies Lives Matter t-shirt in my shop for sale. It is another way to support the channel and the work that I do. So thank you very much for liking, subscribing, and sharing this work. Thank you so much. God bless you, and God bless America.